At the foot of the ladder, the limb footbeds are only depressed in the surface about 1 or 2 inches, although the surface appears to be very, very fine-grained as you get close to it. It's almost like a powder. Ground mass is very fine. Yeah, I'm going to step off the limb now. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
I may not know everything about him. I may know very little about him. But this podcast will be one of the first that I think goes out since the death of Neil Armstrong. Yeah, you're not over the moon about that, are you, Darby? No, I'm not. It's Sunday when we record the first bit of this bit, and we awoke to the news this morning that he was gone. And whether he was ripping his finger off in bizarre tractor accidents, or beating up people who were conspiracy theorists, Neil Armstrong did take giant steps. I watch you take walking on the moon, man. He died August 25th, 2012. And I guess now that he's probably gone, now they'll put words in his mouth, won't they? They'll probably say, you know, secretly he was harbouring the fact it was all fake, I tell you, it was all fake. Rather sad. Anyway, speaking of rather sad, G'day, it's episode 5, the Dumbed Down Atheist podcast. You see, I figure so many people will talk about Neil Armstrong, and they all know more than me, so I will let them all do it. Only to say, it is a sad day, but it's also a happy day because, you know, the world is better off for knowing him, really. Even though he was the recluse's recluse, according to Wikipedia and various other things. I went to the doctors on Friday. Every month I have an appointment with the doctor since I was diagnosed with me heart things, and I have to go and have an INR blood test. Thank you for asking. 2.4 it was, which is good. Because now I shall be on a warfarin for the rest of my days. If you can number, I have to number them in days. And I dropped the kid off at school, and I was very busy, and I was running around, and I got to the doctor's surgery, which has a pharmacy attached. And I thought, oh no, I didn't brush my teeth. I mean, I don't want to admit that. I didn't brush my teeth. I'd forgotten. And the last thing you want is some heart-challenged person breathing all over him. So I thought I'll pop into the chemist because they've got lollies and stuff there, and I'm pretty sure I've seen things. And I'll buy a packet of chewing gum. So I looked into where the confectionery was kept, and there was a packet of chewing gum, and it said $10. And I went, $10? You got to be joking. For chewing gum? And I look at the little box, and it says Rescue Chewing Gum. Homeopathic chewing gum. You get 37 grams for $10. And it says on the back, soothing chewing gum with flower essences and sweeteners. Liquid scented chewing gum, sugar-free zesty orange. A zesty orange and elderflowered flavoured gum. The liquid scenter contains 4 drops of Rescue, in registered trademark. The famous combination of 5 flower essences discovered by Dr. Bach and used by millions around the world. The soothing action of the chewing gum can help you relax and unwind. May help you. Can help you. And the slim cardboard box is perfect. Yeah, so they can put less bloody chewy in for $10. To take with you in your handbag or jacket pocket. Anyway, I took relief in the fact that it was where the lollies were and not where the real medicine was. Although in my travels around this town of Ballarat, and having to fill out a lot of prescriptions and stuff, because, you know, there's the warfarin and all the other stuff that they give you, I see a lot of homeopathic crap still in our pharmacies. And I was at one of them in a shopping centre the other day, and a girl was unpacking ear candles. And I thought, will I mind my own business, or will I say something? And then that got the better of me, and I thought, no, feck it, I'll say something. So I said, they're still selling those, are they? Oh, yes. So they ought to be banned, they are. They're as dangerous as all. Get out of here. Oh, really? Are they dangerous? Why would they be dangerous? I said, I don't know. Maybe because you lay on your side and stick a burning object in your ear. Oh, she says. I said, yes, people have had to be operated on and have had to have burning stuff pulled out of their heads and everything. Oh. But she still continued putting them into the little receptacle, as you can well imagine. And the one on the counter, for that matter, with dreams of Hopi Indians and all sorts of stuff, when really they're just burning piles of rags. So I thought about the Rescue Remedy chewing gum, and I thought, well, there's a really tall building nearby, and I was wondering, like, if I stuffed a whole packet of chewing gum in my mouth and wanged it around for a while, if I was to jump off the roof whilst blowing a bubble at the same time, would it act like some sort of parachute or balloon to actually rescue me? Anyway, suffice to say, I just went in stinking and breathed all over him. No wonder it was a quick consultation. Came in and said, 2.4, that's good, get out. I don't blame you. So I came home as was my wont. What did you want? No, I wanted to, enlighten myself. All right? And so I looked him up on the internet, Edward Bach, who first studied medicine. This is according to the BachCenter.com, which, believe me, I think this guy's Bach probably was worse than his bite, come to think of it. Edward Bach studied medicine first at Birmingham and later at the University College Hospital in London, where he was the house surgeon. He also worked in private practice, having a set of consulting rooms in Harley Street. As a as a person who studied germs and a pathologist, he undertook original research into vaccines in his own research laboratory. In 1917, Bach was working on the wards tending to soldiers who had returned injured from France. I don't think they went there for a beach holiday, let's put it that way. And one day he collapsed. He was rushed into an operating theatre, suddenly suffering succotash from a severe hemorrhage. I thought I almost said suffering from a severe hemorrhoid, but I noticed they got homeopathic, I should say, cures for that as well. His colleagues operated to remove a tumour, but the prognosis was poor. He should have had some of that chewing gum, shouldn't he, really? When he came round, they told Bach he only had 3 months to live, which is not bad in 1917, that they could actually work that out. As soon as he could get out of bed, Bach returned to his laboratory, where he intended to advance his work as far as he could in the short time that remained. But as the weeks began and went by, he got stronger. 3 months came and went and found him in better health than ever. He was convinced that his sense of purpose was what saved him. Oh, right. So, in other words, nothing he discovered in the lab fixed him up. It was his sense of purpose. I think they call that natural sort of remission, don't they? That happens to people. Homeopathic research. His research into vaccines was going well, but then Meryl Dorey came round and kicked the living crap. No, she didn't. She was probably annoying some other person at that point. But despite the vaccine thing going well, Dr. Bach felt dissatisfied with the way doctors were expected to concentrate on the diseases and ignore the whole person. Oh, so he wasn't... hang on a minute. Hang on a minute. Wait. They took a tumour out of him, and that helped him live, right? But he was unhappy with the way they ignored the whole person. So if he had no tumour, say, in his foot, did they expect him to cut that open? So basically, at this point, he was being an ungrateful bastard. Anyway, to ignore... So he aspired to a more holistic approach to medicine. And perhaps this explains why, Not being a homeopath, he took the offer to post, of a post, I should say, at the Royal London Homeopathic Hospital. He probably got kicked out of the other place because he's walking around telling them that what they do was no good. But they actually saved his life. When you think about it, in 1917, they didn't really know that much. The fact that they removed the tumour and he survived, he should have been bloody grateful, not inventing chewing gum. Oh, anyway, once there, he noticed the parallels between his work on medicines and the principles of homeopathy. He adapted his vaccines to produce a series of 7 homeopathic nosodes. What the fuck are nosodes? I don't know. Hang on, I'll just consult Google here. Sorry, I can't help that. Nosodes. Nosodes. A good interview last week with Jamie DeWolf, wasn't it? I quite liked it. Nosodes, alternatives to vaccines. Shirley's Wellness Cafe has come up here. Shirley's Wellness, the dangers of vaccines. Oh, here we go again. The advantage of nosodes for disease prevention. Vaccines represent a major assault on the body's immune system, according to Shirley's Wellness Cafe, and we know how bloody accredited she is. Attenuated organisms or chemically killed viruses, bacteria injected into the bloodstream, an unnatural route of infection. Oh. This profound insult, avoiding the body's first line of defences and flooding the system with millions of organisms, viral particles, stresses the immune system. Oh no, it's stressing my immune system, dude. In a way of not nature's design. No, nature's design you would die. That's the point of nature's design. Yes, some people would survive, but you would probably die. Back to this. The insult carries irregularities and abnormalities in the immune system which manifest as chronic diseases in animals. Okay, so what's that? She's got a picture of a doggy. Well, an artist impressed. Shirley's Wellness Cafe. Oh, God. What is a nosode? You mean a no brain? What's wrong with these bloody people, Darby? Well, they just go to a bloody doctor. I don't know, beats me. I'm always for calling in a professional myself, someone who's actually trained. Yeah, that's right. You don't go and suck out your own septic system, do you? You call someone like me. Yeah, I'd call someone like you. I don't know whether I'd exactly call you, but yes, you have the point. Just be quiet for a second. We've got to find out more about this. I'll ask you how your response to your ad's going soon. Just stay in your box over there. What is a nosode? In homeopathy, this is Shirley's Wellness Cafe. In homeopathy, well, straight away, see, now that's where, if you don't mind my saying, you've sort of stuffed up a bit there. It's like saying, in the opinion of a fuckwit who knows nothing, okay, there's a special type of remedy called a nosode. And a nosode is, in brackets here, from nosos. The Greek meaning, it's the Greek meaning, huh? The Greek word for meaning disease. And it's a homeopathic preparation made from matter from a sick animal or person. Ew. Oh, yuck. Substances such as respiratory discharges or diseased tissues are used. Yeah, I suck a few of those out. Oh, yeah, people's septic tanks. Oh, yeah. Nothing worse than a bit of diseased tissue, I tell you. Skid mark city. I thought you had a job too. Go. Now, hang on. I say a lot. It's because I don't know what I'm talking about. It sounds repulsive. Yes, surprisingly. It does, actually. You're right. But the preparation using alcohol... Oh, here we go. There's my interest pepped up a bit. Because I can't find this spot now. I was looking this morning at a site that has homeopathic sprays for every disease known to mankind, and it's like, horrible sounding names where they've diluted it down to, 23C and 400 this, where someone said, you need about 50 universes to put one atom of whatever it is that's in there. And in a lot of them it says contains ethanol. So I'm thinking, well, if it doesn't work as a homeopathic remedy, you can pour the stuff in your car and it'll work. using alcohol, as well as repeated dilution and succession, essentially renders the substance harmless, and probably useless as well, while producing a powerful remedy. So, the use of no-sodes in a prophylactic manner, isn't that a condom, a prophylactic? For preventing disease, has been employed in veterinary and human homeopathy for many years. It's supported by various holistic veterinarians and authors. Dr. D.D. Blanco, DMV, is quoted as saying, "You take healthy animals and often very quickly after you vaccinate. You can see things like itching of the skin, excessive licking of the paws, and sometimes even no eruptions, licking of the air. We see a lot of epilepsy and seizures, often after rabies vaccinations. Oh, God. Or dogs and cats become aggressive for several days. Frequently, you'll see urinary tract infections, blah, 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 blah. So they're no-sodes, are they? So basically, if you've got a cold, someone blows a lot of snot in a bucket of water. We then take that bucket of water and we tip that into the ocean. Then on the other side of the planet, we make a phone call to someone using a tool of science, i.e. a phone, and then they dip the bucket over their side in the water. They take a droplet, like a little eye bathy, squeezy thing out of that. They then tip that into their bathtub, mix in some ethanol, and then what do? They bottle it up. Is that right? And that's how it works. That's sound common sense to me. Now, back to Dr. Bach. And I like the fact that the centre has some courses and stuff, and then that sends you off to some other site where they show a Mac computer, like a ProBook, next to some sort of parchment or scroll. And I think that's meant to make them look scientific, because we have a computer. Yes, folks, we will use this wonderful tool of science to show you that our pseudo-bullshit is real. Anyway, sponsor Dr. Yes, he did all that. The work and its we're back to Dr. Bach, and its subsequent publication brought him some fame in homeopathic circles. It's like saying, I was the biggest nutter in the asylum. Hey! People began to refer to me as a god. No, people began to refer to him as the second Hahnemann. I'm learning this as I go along. Hahnemann, which is H-A-H, H, on the hook in the O. Hanahan. Now you know what's going to happen now. Now I've got to look up Hanahan, don't I? And Dr. AVG. Hang on a minute. Now let me just cut and paste. Oh, by the way, a big thank you to Right Stuff, who gave me my first five-star thing on iTunes, 5-star review. My one and only. Good on you, Right. I meant to say that at the start of the show, and I completely forgot. And I noticed this week when I was looking through my stats that I've had 2 downloads from Germany. Everywhere else, the hundreds everywhere else in America and Australia, but 2 from Germany. So I'm really not sure who that is, but what's Dankeschön, and you say Bitteschön, and that's it. I learnt my German from watching Hogan's Heroes. I really don't know much else than that, except to say I know nothing. This actually should be the outcry of this podcast when you think about it. The dumbed down atheist. I know nothing. The Hahnemann University Hospital is it's an award-winning hospital, ranked in the performance of Centre for Surgical this, that, or the other. Find a physician, careers, about us, our services, our quality. No, I don't think it's going to really tell me. Who was he? Christian Friedrich Samuel Hanahan. He was born in 1755 and died in 1843. Was a German physician, for creating the alternative form of medicine called, you guessed it, homeopathy. So this guy lived way, 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 way before penicillin. Because, we once went to, I've got to tell you this. When our kid was really little, right, this is prior to starting kindergarten. Oh, that's another German word. Yeah, it's prior to starting the kindergarten. We got led. I said no. Straight away I went, oh, fuck that. I didn't say it in front of the kid because he was little, I used a different expletive. We went to a Steiner kindergarten, and then there's a school. Oh, man, fucking hell. And that's, Dr. Rudolf Steiner. Rudolf, the fucking idiot, was a great big joke of a man. And, fucking hell. But the wife said, oh, no, come on, I don't know anything about it. I've heard they've got really, I've heard good stuff. And I went, well, you've been living under a rock, have you? I said, they're a bunch of freaking wackos. I mean, seriously, they are. I mean, nothing against them. I mean, I think they're wonderful people. She goes, no, but we want to go and have a look. And, when your kid's that age, you can be guilted into a lot of stuff. These days, for example, if someone said, let's go look at a Steiner thing, I'd just go, no, fuck no, I'm not going. And I would just dig my heels in and I wouldn't go. Anyway, but back in those days, the kid's little, all right. I said, okay, all right, okay, I'll go. But believe me, by the time we leave, okay, you will go in with an open mind and you'll come out agreeing with me. And I don't want to sound like some sort of fascist, but you will, don't worry, you will. So we go along to this thing. And, oh, man. There was this person there whose own kid was there, and they decided to make bread with the children. And this person who was making the dough was sitting there at the table with the children around. She was going, knead the dough, knead the dough, knead the dough, knead the dough. Need that, and it went on longer than that. And when I stood there, and my wife was looking at me, and I just gave her one look, and I said, "See." And then she started to look more into the whole Steiner thing. And as I said, this fellow was around before the advent of penicillin, for crying out loud. And then this person rang who was coming to give a talk for the new parents, but couldn't come because there was some ice on the road and didn't want to drive our car there because, I don't know, they had some premonition about something or another. So anyway, we got out of there, which was good, and we'd never sent the kid there because I wouldn't have anyway. And that was going to lead on to something else, and I've forgotten what it was now. So we'll go back to this. The flower remedies. Oh, what was it? It was good, and I've forgotten it now. Oh, it doesn't matter. It'll come to me some other podcast. Sometimes I get lots of different ideas going around in my head because I'm a nutcase. The flower remedies, up till now, Bach had been working with bacteria. Oh, yeah, and the woman's kid who was kneading the dough, right, had a big runny nose, and his little bit of dough, there was snot dripping into it. And I was looking at these children, and I'm thinking, I don't know for sure, but I wonder how many of these kids have actually been vaccinated. Anyway, so it would have worked well with this other Bach guy, wouldn't it? Because he would have had his snot into the bread. They could have broken that bread up into crumbs and cured everybody's diseases with his snot. Up till now, Bach had been... I wish I could remember what I was going to say about that. There was something else. I remember thinking it, and it's gone. The flower remedies up till now, Bach had been working... he wanted to find remedies that would be purer and less reliant on the products of disease. He began collecting plants, and in particular flowers, the most highly developed part of the plant, in the hope, mind you, of replacing nosodes with a series of gentler remedies. So I think by this stage, when they tore that tumour out, I don't know if it was in his head or whatever, but I'm pretty sure they tore out a bit of brain as well. By 1930, he was so enthused by the direction his work was taking, he gave up his lucrative Harley Street practice and left London. Determined to devote the rest of his life to the new system of medicine that he was sure could be found in nature, he took with him his assistant radiographer, Nora Weeks. Just as he abandoned his home, office and work... I wonder if he was married. Because that sort of sounds a bit sus, doesn't it? He abandoned his home just after he ran off with the radiator woman, Nora Weeks. No, but I'm not going to say anything. I don't know. I'm not going to besmirch the man. He's dead, so he can't sue me, which is good. But anyway, Dr. Bach began to abandon the scientific method. Red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag, red flag. and its reliance on laboratories and reductionism. He fell back instead on his natural gifts, as a healer, and more allowed his intuition, to guide him to the right plants. Oh, jeez, this is not a glowing recommendation, Bach Centre. Is this supposed to attract people in, is it? So I'm reading this for the first time. I didn't pre-read any of this. I wish I could remember what that thing was that I thought of, though. Anyway. Over the years of trial and error, which involved preparing and testing thousands of plants, mind you, testing them through intuition, not with any scientific method, he found one by one the remedies he wanted. I wonder if he found a cure for confirmation bias. That would have been a pretty good idea, wouldn't it? This flower over here, if you take this, right, it will remove your confirmation bias and will also get rid of those wonderful testimonials that people have written. He found that when he treated the personalities and feelings of his patients, their unhappiness and physical distress would be alleviated naturally, as the healing potential in their bodies was unblocked and allowed to work once more. Dear, oh dear. So really, it was just the placebo effect, the effect of like someone in a lab coat sitting down with you and saying, how you feeling? Are things good at home? You got some hassles? I mean, just, that does make people feel better, you see. Even if you go see the doctor, you feel better after you've seen the doctor simply because someone sat down with you and talked to you, you see. I'm so glad I didn't buy that chewing gum. His life followed a seasonal pattern from 1930 to 1934. The spring and summer spent looking and preparing remedies. The winter giving help and advice for all those who came looking for them. Most winters were spent in the little coastal town of Cromer. Isn't that what the kids do with the cans? That's what they do with the cans and the plastic bags over there. Oh, no, that's chroming. That's right. Here he met and became friends with a local builder and healer. What do you do? I build buildings and I'm a healer. Oh, I sound a bit like Nev there, don't I? Victor Bullen. In 1934, Dr. Bach and Nora Weeks moved to a house called Mount Vernon in Oxford. I was going to say something else about Rudolf Steiner too, by the way. There was because here in Australia, there are some state schools, I believe, who, even though if you can't be a Steiner school, right, somehow, I don't know, I think this country has gone mad, to be quite honest. Our state institutions have already allowed those crazy people from Access Ministries in there. But I'm led to believe some state schools can do things like have a Steiner component, should it be their want. And there's one somewhere in the western suburbs, I think, where they have a Steiner component. And this poor parent this is in the news, this parent got called in one day and said, your little son, Jimmy or Johnny or Jacob or whatever his name is, will not be going up from, grade 2 to grade 3. I'm speaking hypothetically here because there's a long time since I heard the story. But it was on the radio, so it must be real. And the father said, why? I don't understand. His grades are good. He's got, A's and B's and all those things. Oh, yes. We're not criticising his academic prowess as such. It's just that. You see this picture that he drew, and they produced from the dossier a picture that the child had drawn. And he'd drawn like a globe of the earth sort of thing. And above it, he had sort of like this, like, well, not an angel, but a person, whatever, right? And they said, and this is why we can't let him go up to the next grade. And the dad said, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm just paraphrasing. Well, you see, isn't it obvious to you? And the dad went, no, not really. No, you might have to explain. Well, you see, that round thing there that looks like the earth, see, that represents the earth. Really? And the little creature above it, that's your son, you see. He doesn't feel he's part of the world. And until he feels that oneness with the world and part of the world, we can't let him go up. Yeah, well, hey, look, that's what I said. Yes. No one was there to hear it because it was just me and the radio. Sorry, the radio and I. Where were we? Mount Vernon. In the Oxfordshire village of Brightwell-cum Sotwell. Oh, I love it when you speak like that. Say that again. Okay. Brightwell-cum Sotwell. In the lanes and fields, he found the remaining remedies that he needed to complete the series. I guess we might get another flavour of chewing gum then pretty soon from the sounds of it. By now, his body and mind were so in tune with his work that he would suffer the emotional state that needed to cure and try plants and flowers until the one that would help him. I think he might have been scraping something off the bread mould, you know. Bit trippy. In this way, through great personal suffering and sacrifice. It's a bit like Oh No, Ross and Kerry. We take the poison so you don't have to. He completed his life's work and then dropped dead. I wouldn't be surprised. A year after announcing that his search for remedies was complete, that's it, folks, it's complete. He's fixed it now in 1934. No need to study anything ever again. Dr. Bach passed away peacefully on the evening of November 27, 1936. He was only 50 years old. Oh, shit, really? So I'm 48. That means should I have that chewing gum, I've got a whole 2 years to look forward to. Isn't that wonderful? But I don't think I'll renew my RSS feeds for my podcast. Or maybe I'll just go day by day, I think. But he outlived the doctor's prognosis by nearly 20 years, folks. Mind you, they were the doctors that saved him in the first place, remember? By removing the tumour. So they helped him live, because his prognosis would have been that he'd have died on the spot had they not removed it, right? And then he expects them to be soothsayers. They give him 20 extra years of life. Yes, plus, yeah, okay, he went into remission. And, yeah, I'm not going to sit here and say the body doesn't have some sort of natural healing-y things, because we do. We have an immune system that does stuff. It ain't perfect, but, you know, all the years of evolution have kind of helped here and there and worked against us in some ways. And, you know, okay. So that they have, in fact, wouldn't it have been better? When you think about it, though, modern medicine of the day in 1917 actually is responsible for this catharsis because they should have let him die. Because if they had have let him die, then he wouldn't have gone off in the fields and the flowers because he would have been dead and we wouldn't have this now. So he's right. Modern medicine is to blame. Back to the acting. He left behind him several lifetimes experience. No, he didn't. He left behind the years, not several lifetimes. Hey, of experience and efforts, and a system of medicine that is still used all over the world, no matter how hard we try to stamp it out. Although now we're having a lot more trouble with our private health funds in actually funding it, aren't we? Thank goodness for that. Anyway. He left his work in the hands of his friend and colleagues, Nora Weeks and Victor Bullen, who'd built himself a nice little 2 up, 2 down somewhere. With instructions that they should carry on his work and stay true to the essential simplicity of what he had done. And boy, had he done something. And it smelled. In a letter to Victor dated the 26th of October in 1936, a month before his death, he wrote, "People like ourselves who have tasted the glory of self-sacrifice, the glory of helping our brothers, once we've been given a jewel of such magnitude, nothing can deviate us from our path," yeah, certainly not any bloody rhyme or reason, that's for sure, "of love and duty to displaying its lustre and pure unadorned to the people of the world." Nora and Victor stayed true to the simplicity and sharing, as the Bach Centre does today. I still wish I could remember what that thing was too, when I was going to tell the story about the Steiner Centres. Oh, it's gone. It's gone. Oh, I tell you a beauty too. There is one other one. When our kid was even younger, like he'd just been born, and we were living in a different state than what we are now. We're now in the state of mental disrepair, but before that we were in the state of ecstasy. No, we had a house, and his bedroom, which had originally been my little studio before I got thrown out of the house. Bloody kids, they come along, they ruin your life. I'm telling you, they ruin your life. But the bedroom was the room sort of next to it on one side, even though there was a wall between it, was the toilet, and it had noisy plumbing. And the little beggar, when he first came home, he would sleep for maybe an hour, 2 hours, if you were lucky. Then he'd be up. Then he'd be vomiting down your back. What a lovely little chap he truly is. Just stuff coming out of every end. But we'd finally, get him to go to sleep, and then you'd almost be frightened to go and use the toilet because you flushed it. It made so much noise. There were many times it would wake him up, and we were like zombies because we were so tired, and I was 40 when he was born, so I wasn't a spring chicken. And the other side of his bedroom was the actual bathroom, and so all the pipes ran along the walls. And so after he would go to sleep, we'd be sitting there thinking, oh no, we don't want to make any noise, it's going to wake him up, and we're so tired. We're so tired. And then the little bugger, right, we go off to because, there's the nursing centre, like they keep an eye on you to make sure, obviously, you're not total fuckwits as parents, so they can take your kids off you if you are. So we lob up for one of the sessions that you've sort of got to go to where obviously they're just snooping on you, basically, which is okay. That's not a bad thing, really, because, they're concerned for the health of the kid. And we're at this little nurse's thing. Now, the little bugger, right, every other mum who's there, and I think I was about the only dad, their babies are all born around the same time. They're crying and they're burping and they're farting and they're shitting and they're vomiting and they're screaming and they're yelling. And all of these poor mums are like harried, some of them got extra kids on top of it, and they're all... And our little bugger, who's been, kept us awake for weeks, turns up at the thing and then promptly falls asleep in our laps. Like a little angel, he's just like... And all the little nurses and people, they're going, oh, what a perfect little boy, look. And there's all this, noise going on around, and there's the kid fast asleep. And we're having to play along with it like proud parents. But we're both thinking inside our heads, just the minute we get out of here, he's going to be awake. We're going to be exhausted, thinking maybe we could go home and have 5 minutes to lay down on the couch. And he'll be awake, probably for the next 2 days. Anyway, so I asked the nurse, because they're having a Q&A session, right? And I said, oh, the funny thing, because how are they sleeping at night, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, not too bad, but ours does wake up every couple of hours. And she's looking at me like, oh, that little angel. Oh, no, never. He wouldn't do that. Oh, yeah, you want to make a bet? So I said, you ready for this? Woo alert, woo alert, woo alert, woo alert, coming up. I said, oh, well, the thing is, the bathroom's on one side of the bedroom and the pipes run to the wall, and then there's a toilet on the other side of his bedroom. And at night we get a little bit frightened running the taps and flushing the toilets because it tends to wake him up. And she looks at me, and I'm waiting for practical advice coming here, and she says, yes, that's like with feng shui. Sorry, what? She goes, yeah, feng shui. You've got to be really careful where the direction of the running water is in proximity to the child's bedroom. Oh, that's well known, that is, yes. I can understand that, in terms of the feng shui, that could be a bad thing. And you could have heard a pin drop. Because one part of me wanted to say, take the uniform off now, you quack. How dare you? This is up. State-run, medically type thing. Did I just hear... But I didn't say anything. No, I just sat there, and she moved on to someone else's question, and I looked at the wife, and the wife looked at me, and we walked out of there, and I said, we've been to a few of these things now, haven't we? And she said, yes. I said, can we stop coming to these? Because that's fucking ridiculous. I have just heard someone who's employed by a state health organisation, who's supposed to be here to give advice for people and their newborn babies and children and stuff, has just mentioned the words feng shui. My wife, who's not as... Well, she has some room in her life for kind of faith. Brought up a Catholic, kind of... They never completely lose it, let's face it, do they? And even she looked at me and went, yeah, that's a bit out there, isn't it? I said, yeah, it is. I said, I'll tell you what we should do. And shoot me down in flames if you don't want to do this, but we should stop coming here. And how about we go off to, like, the St. John ambulance people, and perhaps we should do, like, a first aid course, because when you really think about it, like if our kid was to choke on something or his little heart stopped beating or whatever, that sort of stuff, that would be more practical in terms of if we at least could then get away with and pretend like we're caring parents, like if he burns himself or he's got a cut or he's got this or that or the other. Having first aid knowledge would be a darn sight more productive than coming to this house of quackery. And that's what we did. So, yeah, it's everywhere. It really is. It's everywhere. Now, I've noticed on the internet here, just answer homeopathy. Ask a question and get an answer ASAP. A new question is answered every 9 seconds. Okay, so I'm going to type something in. I'm going to say, what's some bullshit I can type in that's not terribly serious? Let's see. I'll type in, what should I? Nightmares. I'll type in nightmares, right? Nigma. Okay, nightmares. Now I'll click get. Homeopaths are online now, right? In justanswers.com. Information. Oh, here we go. What's your first name? What have you tried so far? Oh, piss off. Person's gender, I'll say male. Your first name? L. Ron Hubbard. Okay. Person's age? We'll say 23. What have you tried so far? Dianetics. I'm a bit dyslexic there. I've written Dianexis. Hang on. Dianetics. What else? I'll put OT7. That's what I've tried so far. Continue. While we're waiting for that to happen. Oh, here we go. Verified expert. This is by Dr. Camp. She's a verified expert because it's got a little tick next to her name. Her job title is Medical Director, Professional Clinician, Professional Licenses, ND. Naturopathic Doctor. That's an oxymoron when you sort of think about it, isn't it? Oh, she's a naturopath. But hang on, this is homeopathy. They are actually different things. Specialising in natural... See, I do know some things. I just sound very scattered, that's all. Specialising in natural therapies and homeopathy. Degree? Doctoral degree. Hi, L. Ron Hubbard. Just Answer has asked me to answer your question, nightmares, because it falls into my area of expertise. I just need a few more details about your situation and I will get to work. Urgency, medium, low, high. Or go high. Level of detail required, medium. What do you reckon? Medium, high? High. Oh, it's just jumped up. Hang on. Oh, if you pay, the amount you'll pay if satisfied. So if I put urgency low, it drops back down to $36. The level of detail required low drops down to $18. And then you click get an answer. Customer satisfaction guaranteed. How do they guarantee that? Customer feedback. These are other people. Thank you very much. If I can be assistant, get an answer. All right, get an answer. I'll click get an answer, shall I? I've got it cranked all the way up. Oh, they want my Visa card. Oh, place your deposit of Australian $54 and get your answer in real time now. Your question, nightmares. Yeah, I think I'm having a bloody nightmare right now. You have an appointment. Your expert is waiting. Deposit method, Visa, MasterCard, PayPal. How it works. Place a good faith deposit. Receive your expert's answer. I noticed too, everyone's been raving on about eBay. You can't sell curses and blessings and fartings and things anymore. Which is kind of a pity in a way, because I think some people just deserve to be fleeced. I'd be one of them if I clicked this, wouldn't I, really? $54? Go fuck yourself, because... I went to get off the page, and now there's a pop-up. Hi, I'm online again. Your refundable deposit signals to me that you'd be willing to pay me if you're satisfied. It remains in your Just Answer account until you leave me positive feedback. Sincerely, Dr. Camp, homeopathy expert. But over there it said she was a naturopathy expert, didn't it? Yes, I would like my answer now. So I'll keep clicking. Oh, and then it takes me back to the payment page. No. I go every month to see a real doctor, and I just have to show my Medicare card and my things. And no, thank you, no. See, we're very lucky in Australia, aren't we? That's the thing. This is the bit where I'm very glad I don't live in America, because I seriously have to say, guys, as much as I love yous all, I don't think I'd like to have my medical condition and live where you live. I think I'd be fucked 5 ways to Friday, to be brutally honest. Now, hang on a minute here. Just hold your horses for a second. Hold your horses for a second. Wait a minute. I'm just going to bring up my thing here. I've got this written on the back of my hand here. Where's my keypad? It's over there, isn't it? Hang on, wait a minute. Australia. Oh, hang on, it's not working. Why is it not working? Come on, I've clicked the little thing on my Skype thing. Come on. 0. Oh, it's not working. Why not? What's going on? Hang on. Oh, now it's working. Hang on a sec. 0. 8. And is 5. I'm just wondering if I can hear that. Hang on. Oh, I can hear that. I can only hear it in one ear, though. Why is it so? What happened? What happened? That happened, I tell you. It went all funny. Did they hang up on me, did they? How dare my friends hang up on me? I don't think this is. I'll try that again. Did I get the number right? 88. Invalid phone number? What? I'll have you know, sir. It's not invalid. It probably is, actually, come to think of it. I was going to talk to my friend Michael, because the other week he said, I'm going to watch The Cabin in the Woods. And he goes, it's really good. So on the same night, we organised to watch it at our place. And I thought it was absolutely a load of shite, a big bag of shite. A big bag, hang on. At least it's ringing. They never answer their phone, don't worry about it. We went out to a party last night, he's probably got... This should be the show where I ring people and they never answer. Yeshiva apology. This is in The Age from Thursday the 23rd. An Orthodox Jewish organisation in East St Kilda, accused of covering up sex abuse scandal, has unreservedly apologised to victims. Yeshiva College has been rocked by allegations of multiple students who were molested over many years by trusted members of the school community. Now, I'm sure the Catholics must be really breathing a sigh of relief, mustn't they, by now, when you think about it? I mean, to be sure, you see, it isn't always us. No, not at all there. No, not at all. You see, with him. I felt like after last week's show there wasn't as many places to go today, and I really don't generally record my podcast till a few days later, but everyone was out of the house, and I thought, I'm just going to sneak in and do it. I've got all sorts of stuff coming up, but I'm just not... I was a bit upset, actually, because I really tried to get John Michael Housen to consent, darling. Because in Australia, he's like really quite sort of famous. He was the script writer for a show called Adventure Island, which got bumped by Sesame Street in the 70s. Excuse me for a minute there. And then he went over to it seas and became known as John Michael Hollywoodhausen. No, they're not there, bastards. And he's gay. He came out a few years ago. He used to be the clown. He was very flat. If you ever, go to YouTube and search around for Adventure Island. You will see the world's most campiest children's show you've ever seen. Most of the women's parts, except for the ones played by the real women's parts, were men dressed up as women. It's just like a pantomime on the high seas. And now John Michael Housen is on a station called 3AW in Australia. And recently, Julian Assange's mum was coming on to have an interview, and she'd heard him whilst on hold have a go at someone else, and then said, I refuse to speak to this man. And he went, oh, Zig Heil, Zig Heil, Zig Heil, and got himself suspended for 4 weeks. And I sort of tried through some various contacts to see if I could get to interview him. I didn't want to interview him about the Zig Heil comment. I wanted to interview him about how he resolves being now gay, openly gay, and living in a relationship with another man, and also still hanging on to his faith, you see. But unfortunately, he wants to lay low, doesn't really want any... I don't blame him. I mean, he's from a traditional thing, but bit of a pity, really, because I think it would have been good. But I've got other little... Don't you worry, I've got other little irons in the fire. A bit forgetful today because it reminded me of something else I needed to tell you while I was telling that story, and I've forgotten that now as well. But it'll probably come to me. Don't worry, it'll come to me. Yeshiva College has been rocked by students who were molested over many years. I wish I could remember that other story now. It was really important too, and I've forgotten it. I was going, I was going to do that on the podcast, wasn't I? And I've forgotten it. I should write everything down, but then the podcast would go for like 3 days. I might do a supplemental one this week. I don't know. As soon as I turn the microphone off, it'll all come flooding back to me. I shall write it down. Oh, my goodness me, I shall write. That reminds me of something else, too. We've got downloads, two from Germany, right? About 55% in Australia and about 45% in the United States of America. God love you all. Love you. No British ones. Not one. And with my ancestry, I'm kind of a little pissed off about that. So if you know any POMs, can you please point them in my direction? Because I'm really annoyed. It only dawned on me. I thought, I don't have one single download from the UK. Probably because they've got taste. Anyway, in a letter sent to community members this week, I wanted to attribute to Dick Smith too, and I was going to do that this show, and I noticed even though I've really had nothing much to say, we're already up to the 55-minute mark. A letter sent to community members this week. The Yeshiva Centre said, children, we're entitled to our protection and our vigilance in eradicating abuse. Take a chance, Mikey, my son. Come on, take a chance, take a chance. That's my English Golders Green sort of Jewish stereotype, which I won't do again, I promise. I promise. Field equality, not the width. I promise I won't do that again. I promise I won't. I won't if I were a rich man. Yabba dabba. Well, it's better than cognitive dissonance. Every time they do a show about Jewish things, they play Hava Nagila, so I can't do that, can I? Yeah, got the pick a bucket too. Anyway, that's enough of the stereotypes. Okay, I'm sorry. And John Safran has popped up in my personal friends list on my Facebook too. And I see him online sometimes, and I'm sort of like in quite admiration of him, because I think he went to Yeshiva College. And one part of me, when I occasionally see him online there, is I would like to say, oh, John, come and talk to me. Go on, talk to me. Go on. And then I think, well, I don't sort of really know him. Like, he does a show on Triple J. You can get it as a download. It's Sunday Night Safran, which he does with Father Bob, the Catholic priest, which is really good. And they had the guy from the Conspiracy, the Conspiracy Atheist, Conspiracy Skeptic show. He was a guest on there not so long ago. I'm still trying to pin Jake Farr-Wharton down. I can't get it. He says, but then he's busy, isn't he? Because he's busy with his friends Andrew Skegg and Pete Darwin, and all I want to do is I just want to impress. I just want to go up to people and go, "Oh, I'm a terribly big fan of yours. Oh, go on, can you give me 5 seconds, like, to come on my podcast, or let me just stick my head into yours, because it would sort of really help to get the numbers up." And I'm slowly breaking into the circles, because I feel when I'm here, like, I'm in your face, and then when I'm sort of off, sometimes I'm sort of thinking, oh, maybe I'm just annoying people. But then on the other hand, I sort of say, oh, well, bugger it. I had to turn my other channel off just for a sec there. Sorry, you wouldn't have noticed any difference. So I never edit this show. I just think stuff it. Back to this. We understand and appreciate there are victims who feel aggrieved. Really? You think so, do you? Yeah. The scar that'll be with you for the rest of your life. You think so, do you? Oh, okay. And we sincerely and unreservedly apologise for any historical wrongs that may have occurred. Stated in the letter by Yeshiva College Principal Rabbi Yehoshua Smuckler. Smuckler. That does sound Yiddish, doesn't it? Don't be a schmuckler. Come on, Smuckler. Come on. Come out, boy, and apologise to these people. Rabbi Zvi Telsner and Committee of Management Chairman Don Wolf. Don Wolf? What's he doing there? That almost sounds more German, doesn't it, Wolf? Yeah, I'm Wolfgang. I am now working at the Yeshiva College to repair the damage that has been caused in the past. I am a big supporter of Israel. If you're offended by any of this, really, just fucking stop downloading the show. That's all I can say. Go listen to something else, because I'm really not here to appease you. If mistakes were made in the past, they must be dealt with, and we must ensure, to the extent possible, that mistakes are not made, or do not continue to be made. Well, that would be good, considering you are dealing with children's futures. Yes, that might be a bit of an idea, don't you think? In the way in which allegations of abuse are dealt with. Yes, what a good idea. Why don't you actually try dealing with them? See, this is what's gone on here in Ballarat, where it fucking gives me the shits. There are schools here, St. Alpius and all this sort of stuff, and there's been all this, abuse by Catholic clergy and stuff, but those institutions are still open. Now, I'm not saying that stuff's going on there today. Of course not. Don't be stupid. But, let's hope we're learning from the lessons of the past, because I'm telling you, if that sort of abuse went on in private businesses, right, what would end up happening to those businesses? They'd be shut down. But you can get away with anything when you're a religious organisation. Well, that just happened in the past and it's not happening now. And learn from the lessons of the past. I advise you very, very strongly. You won't get away with it these days like you did once upon a time. Now, former security guard David Cypries has been committed to stand trial next year over the alleged rape and sexual assault of, 12 students between 82 and 91. Detective Senior Constable Lisa Mecher last year told the Magistrates Court high-standing members of the Jewish community had lied to the police and failed to act to protect children and swept alleged offending by Cypries under the carpet. Magistrate Louise Bazzani also said it was unfathomable that yeshiva college teacher Rabbi Abraham Glich was unaware of the molestation at the time. Victoria Police are also seeking to extradite the former U.S. former yeshiva teacher David Kramer, whom parents alleged was spirited out of the country by the school after complaints he was sexually abusing their children. All charges have been dropped against the former Chabad youth leader, Aaron Ezekiel Kestner, Kestecher. One of Cypries' alleged victims commended the yeshiva leadership for, quote, finally taking the moral position in apologising. Today's statement by yeshiva leadership is an acknowledgement of the abuse we suffered, he said. However, on the website failedmessiah.com, which covers Orthodox Judaism, Orthodox Judaism, Shamira Rosenberg said that the letter read more like a lawyer-drafted piece of propaganda than it does a heartfelt apology. Chabad leaders have been hostile to police investigation and hostile to the families of the only named victim, he said. The letter from Yeshiva Center said support and counselling would continue to be provided. Well, at least I guess we got better reporting these days. I shall throw that into the bin, sir, with you. It's if I was on radio now, I'd give a time call. I'd say it's 1 hour and 3 minutes since we first started this rubbish today, and if I really feel up to it, I don't even know if I'll release this podcast. All right, I will. I don't care. Where were we? Nev! Nev! Yeah, I'm coming. Hang on. I'm nodding off in the shed out there. You're bloody... Well, you're rabbiting on a bit this week. Your voice is a bit sort of soprano. No. What's that one makes you fall asleep? Soporific, I think, is the word you have in mind, if you had a mind to have it in. Yeah, all right. Cut out your fancy bloody toy. It's a Sunday afternoon here. I get a bit sleepy on a Sunday afternoon. I wish you wouldn't do these things on a Sunday. It's a day of rest, son. Day of rest.
Well, I've been right up to my neck in it, and I'm never in a flurry. I'm Nev from Nangwarry. I don't know. Yep, no, that's who I am. Yep, no.
Well, Neville, I think you have made great progress, and I think our sessions could come to an end.
Oh, thanks, Doc. I think it's done the trick. I must admit the past, I've never had too much faith in you guys. I used to think you're all a bit mad, you know.
Yeah, but remember, Neville, you must have complete rest. Peace and quiet. A big shock could push you right back. You must have rest.
Oh, no worries, Doc. Jason's coming to pick me up in the truck, and when I get home, I'm going to put my favourite home video on. Nangwarry winning the 1991 Grand Final. Oh, yeah.
How'd you go at the doctor's, Uncle Nev?
Oh, yeah, not too bad, Jason. He's a funny sort of fella. He told me if I got stressed out, I should think of a few funny jokes. He said in my profession there should be thousands of them.
Oh, no, Uncle Nev, you've always taken your profession very seriously.
Oh, well, he said it works for him when he feels stressed. He told me a joke. I didn't get it. He said like this. There was this one psychiatrist walking down a corridor, right? These other two psychiatrists walking towards him. He said, "Good morning, gentlemen," to him, and as he walked away, one turned to the other one and said, "What do you think he meant by that?"
Oh, and then what happened, Uncle Nev?
Yeah, well, that's what I said, but he said it was the end of the joke.
Oh, Uncle Nev, I've just got to stop at a friend's flat. Come in with me quickly and then we'll head out of town. Oh, g'day, Trig, how are you, mate?
Oh, how you doing, Jace? Who's the old fella you brought with you?
Name's Nangers, son, Nev Nangers. I've never seen so many computers in the one place. You must be right into it.
Oh, yeah, look, I got slayed by an elf of the fourth night of the August moon in the sub-quadrant section of 5. And I was up to level 207.
Yeah, right, son. Jace, have you got what you come for? Can we get out of here now?
No, Uncle Nev, I'm just waiting for me mate Bazza to show up. Would it be all right if me Uncle Nev lays down in your bed, Trig?
Oh, yeah, mate, just go for it. Listen, just dust off the chips and the old Chico rolls, mate. It'll be
Thanks,
fine,
son.
yeah.
You wake me when we leave, Jason. Don't be too long.
Yeah, so what you want Bazza for, mate?
Ah, well, he promised to give me back the $200 today here. You know, the one that I loaned him for his sister's eye operation so he could go and visit her, yeah.
Oh, well, I don't know, mate. Never said nothing to me, but listen, crash out over there on my couch if you want till he gets here. That's cool.
Just after 8 o'clock in the flat of Trig.
By the orders of the United States government, you ought to come out of that building now with your hands on your heads. Place your hands on your heads. Don't make us come in. Quick, Jason, get up. We better get out there. You heard what he said. I wonder what this is all about.
Well, I hope Bazza sent him with my $200.
Well, I can tell you one thing, son. Darby's got no hope of wrapping this up. It's already time to quit. I guess there'll be a part 2. Well, I've been right up to my neck in it, and I'm never in a flurry. I'm Nev from Nangwarry. I don't know. Yep, no, that's who I am. Yep, no.
It's such a noisy. I told him to make himself comfortable during that. He's nodded off over there. Well, it has been, hasn't it? It has, and it's probably time that we did. And next time when we come back, we will.
Oh, Nora.
And I will, yes. And in the meantime, I guess the worst could happen is I could have cut myself off there. Oh, that noise. One more chance to get Jake Farr-Wharton. I'm going to call him cold. Hang on, I'm going to call him cold. This time I'm in for sure. My luck's got to change. Oh, hang on. I got a call coming. I got a call. Hang on. Turn that snort. Are you there?
I am here.
Oh, look. He sounds clear too. I've been. Oh, hang on. I've switched off what's his name's microphone. That's all right. It's Mr. The Man himself. The one true podcast.
That is me. That is I.
That is you. That is him. And it's good night and now it's good night for me and it's good night for him. Thank you. Bye, folks.
And it was great speaking to you.
It was Mr. Jake Farr-Wharton, and it's nice to hear your voice. He's got a very big grin on your Skype photo.
An enormous grin.
Yeah,
one that takes up the entire screen.
And is that a moustache or a shadow?
Well, can't it be both?
It can be. I had to sort of look because my screen's a little bit dark, and then I'm thinking, has he got the whole Ali G thing happening there, or is he like in that episode of the Blackadder, you know, where Stephen Fry said, "Oh yes, I like the slug balancer. He was rather good."
I've got a full beard, in fact. Now I can't recall when I took that photo, but no, I'm a fully bearded man.
Are you? Does that prevent you getting through airports? I just need.
No, it's not that thick of a beard. Though I can recall a time in America several years ago, whilst I also had a beard at that time, being eyed by plenty of American people, presumably because of the beard, and of course the suspicious looks of strangers is always disheartening, especially when you're carrying children.
Yes, that's
but I'm
right.
sure it was the beard. I'm sure it was the beard, and not just the fact that I looked evil.
Oh, okay, they didn't come. Send me your children, sir. Excuse me, I'm just choking.
No, you did that well. That was very good.
Yeah, it was real. So you are a Jake Farr-Wharton.
Correct.
And is that similar to like Jamie Farr, who was on MASH?
No, not at all.
No.
There's actually a really interesting story if you want to hear it.
We've got all the time in the world.
That's dangerous.
I have a massive. I have a massive hard drive. Don't you worry.
I see. Well, no, the Farr-Wharton name actually comes from northern England, from a little town called Grimsby, which is on the coast. And the Farrs married the Whartons. They were both nobility. And in actual fact, if I were to live, or if part of my family were to live in that little town of Grimsby, because we do, in fact, descend from the original nobility there, we would receive a stipend. It's about 10 shillings a year.
Oh, the pension.
Exactly. That's. I mean, you couldn't really shop at Harrods, but yes, it's probably enough to buy a beer.
So
that's about it.
In Grimsby, they don't talk like that, lad, do they? In Grimsby,
they do. They are.
They do.
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, that's pretty good then. It's. I think it's similar to the place where L. Ron Hubbard set himself up, but I think that was Grinstead, not Grimsby.
Yes, there's no... was it the Crystal Castle that he had?
L. Ron Hubbard?
Yes, towards the end of his... or perhaps he never lived there. Isn't it Scientology that has that Crystal Castle in America somewhere?
I don't know. Oh, hang on.
I'm positive that there is a crystal castle associated with them.
It could be. That could be the celeb centre that looks... it does look very crystal castle-y, with all sort of windows and stuff. But, I actually don't know. And if I could jump into some sort of temporal warp time machine back to last episode, I would ask Jamie DeWolf that very question. But
I can't believe you didn't. You really should hop into this temporal style time machine, the thing that you suggested you would use, and ask that question.
I would. I was very worried because after he did the interview, his Facebook the next day, I was pasting it around the place, as was my wont. I am like the atheist spammer of the century. And
media slut, they call it.
Yeah, and I paste stuff everywhere, all over the place, expecting someone to write back saying, "Hey, you bastard, stop littering my page with your crap. No one cares." So far, I've been pretty lucky though. Nobody actually has, and a few people have given it a like, which is good. And then he said, "I'm feeling like really down and let down by this, that, and the other. I think I need to disappear for a few days."
Wow.
And the instant sort of like, almost like Catholic guilt in me thought, oh no, like, has he sort of downloaded the show and then thought, oh right, I've been taken for a ride by this bastard, and
yeah,
you immediately blame yourself.
Yeah.
But another part of me thought, well, stuff it, I've got the interview now, so it really doesn't matter. But not that I want to burn people, you understand.
Yeah.
Did you?
I haven't listened to the interview yet, though. What was the vein of the interview? Did you take him to task? Did you make him cry?
I didn't make him cry because we are sort of very much of a like mind. It was sometimes, in interviews you do want to play devil's advocate a bit. But I found with him that, I didn't really, because sort of I am sort of that much of a like mind. I kind of almost tried to sort of stay out of his way as much as possible because he has the L. Ron Hubbard gift of charisma. Okay? Think what you like about L. Ron Hubbard, but as I've said, to come up with that elaborate bullshit the way that he did show that there was something going on under the bonnet, even though it was for bad purposes. But I said to Jamie, you are very charismatic, and he can talk 1,000,000 miles a second.
Yes.
So it was kind of throw the question in, jump out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty good way to do it. I think that's sort of let them hang themselves if necessary. But you know what's funny? I've read a couple of the the books in the Scientology canon. I don't find them at all compelling.
Oh no, well, James Randi said of Dianetics, if you're feeling bad that you picked up Dianetics and looked at it and thought and couldn't finish it because you felt it was a big pile of gobbledygook, the reason for that is it's a big pile of gobbledygook. And I felt that way with Dianetics because I just looked at it and thought, what is this?
Yeah,
and
it was just a mess, a complete mess.
That's what I said to Jamie last week. I said, because my wife always looks at me and sees the things of Scientology, and she goes, "Oh, don't be ridiculous. How could anybody get involved in that? It's rubbish."
Yeah.
But it's amazing what people will. It's amazing what they'll follow. I mean, I'm amazed people have downloaded my podcast, but they have. They have the ramblings of a madman, and they have. Now,
well, they do it. They do it to mine as well en masse. So
I'm trying to.
I completely understand.
I'm trying to think when I first heard of you. I'm fairly sure you were a guest because I was trying to trace back my podcasting ancestry.
Yes,
I was hospitalised with an enlarged heart 18 months or so ago. I had just started listening to the Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
Yes.
I think it was when I got my first actual iPod because I was a bit of an Apple refugee. I always used to sort of hate the fact that Steve Jobs was a bit of a control freak, so all my MP3 players were never iPods, and then eventually I cracked and bought one.
Yeah.
That led me then to, on my computer, unticking the box that says, "Would you like iTunes to come within 5 feet of you?" And because it always tries to take over your computer, iTunes. iTunes has detected that
it is not the primary player for all of these media files.
Yes, therefore,
would you like iTunes to take
and
over?
They never have a box that says "fuck off and leave me alone," but if they did, I would choose that one. And so I thought, and then someone said, "Oh no, well if you got to have an iPod, you have to use iTunes because it's the platform between whatever." Yep. And that's when I discovered sort of how many podcasts there were, and then got hospitalised, and I had like about 4 years worth of Skeptic's Guide to the Universe, and just slowly went backwards through them.
Oh wow!
And then
that is dedication, my friend.
Well, when you're laying there and there's not much else you can do, you know, and meanwhile my auntie who'd become a born again's on the phone saying, "We're praying for you, darling." And I'm sort of saying,
thank you so much for doing something useful.
Yeah, I talk,
goodness.
Yeah, I talked about her in an early podcast because she was never churchy, and my uncle died, and I thought, oh, she'll never cope because she was very traditional in the fact that she was the wifey who was always at home for his dinner. She would never, oh no, I must go home. And then she met this fella, and he's a nice guy, but he's really churchy.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, she's become. They even sat her in outside this like fundo happy clappy church. There's photos of her in a brick bathtub outside having water poured all over her. Mm. She's not a young woman, mind you.
Crikey.
Yeah, she said to me before, "Are you coming to my christening?" And I went, "Oh, don't be bloody ridiculous." So she's ringing me up and praying for me, and I'm listening to the Skeptic's Guide and everything. And I thought to myself, well, and I've mentioned this before, here's a good test. What I'm going to do, and it is tempting, like when doctors are coming up to you and they're saying, "You got blood clots on your lungs, son. We're going to flush your veins full of this stuff. Now, it'll thin your blood out, and that's great, but there is a chance it could kill you."
Yeah, you get a stroke.
Yeah, like it might send something off to your brain. Now, that could kill you. Now, we don't want you to worry about that. It's like, right. Okay, then.
Yeah, you can't not worry at all.
You do sort of think, and I trying to remember whether, no, I one of the nurses said to me at one point, "You're very calm." And I said, "Yeah, well, I'm kind of taking that approach because I'm just sort of figuring, even though I don't necessarily believe in all the positive mind bullshit, I figure it can't hurt at this stage."
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, right, well, you know, you could now, at this point, this is a perfect opportunity. You could turn to the invisible man sort of in the sky and go, "Oh, if you just save me, I promise I'll come out. I'll be a better person, and I will renounce all my worldly goods, and I'll do this and I'll do that. Just save me." And then I thought, well, what if I don't do that? Like, what if I just say I'll leave it to medical science and see what happens? And that's what I did. And then I came out.
Surrender yourself to a higher power, you're saying?
Yes, to all the doctors and people who were recommending all the medicines that needed to be taken.
To higher education, as it were.
Yeah, and so I did that, and then I came out and I said, I think it was the first podcast where I really rambled on even worse than I normally do. And I said, "Oh, when I get out of here, I'm going to do one of those podcasts."
Yes.
And I'm going to. It's the first. As soon as it's the first thing I'm going to do, and then nearly 2 years later, I finally did one. So it took.
That's pretty cool. It took us a while too when we came back from the. I know you were in the middle of a story. Sorry,
no.
But when we decided to start a podcast, we'd come back from the Global Atheist Convention in 2010 in Melbourne. and were full of awe, and we were charged and ready to contribute to the atheism and activism and skepticism scene. And it took us a good 3 months to start recording. And, it wasn't for, want of trying. It's just very expensive to buy good audio gear and recording equipment. But we eventually did it. And it's one of the best things I think I've ever done.
Yeah, well, I didn't really have an excuse because I already owned all the recording equipment.
Ah, okay, so you were just lazy is what you're saying.
Well, but the little room I built as a studio when I moved here had become like a junk room, and you actually couldn't get in the door. And what tipped it for me was, and I kept saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And then I realised I knew nothing about RSS feeds, and that really bugged me because, I'm really stupid. Like Dr. Carl... I heard him say that sometimes when he's listening to some sort of scientific podcast or whatever, he's got to rewind it 4 or 5 times to let the information get into his brain. Well, I'd need to rewind it about 1,000 times to actually get it in there. So then I procrastinated, then I did something else, then something else happened. And what tipped it was about a month or two ago. I was driving along in the car after we'd been out for a bit of a lunch and a few ales. And the wife said, can you just pop into Aldi? And I said, yeah, all right. And I hobbled through Aldi and came back out, and she had the radio on, and she was listening to the local FM station with this preacher who was carrying on about this man had come to his studio and he was dead and he'd come back to life because people had prayed to him. And I've heard this show before, sure. And usually my head explodes. And my natural reaction was I just sort of pressed a different station button. And then she turned to me and goes, don't do that, I was listening to that. And I went, oh, this guy gives me the shits. And as I raged as we drove down the road, I am hearing him say, and we were at the religious conference for this, that, or the other, and not one single atheist would even dare turn up to question us because we had all the answers. And by this stage, I'm just like...
Oh, and they were so humble, of course, as well.
I'm ready to kill. And my kid's in the back seat, and he was just turned 7, and he's going, Dad, is he bad? Yes, it is! And my wife goes...
bad.
And my wife goes... Because your wife would probably be in a similar position. She's heard it all before, you know what I mean? Like, she's had to sit there and listen to you rave on about all sorts of stuff.
Of course.
And so she very carefully says, well, I've got a mobile phone in my bag. Why don't you ring him up? And why do we have to listen to you carry on? Why don't you just do it to him? And I think it was maybe even a bit of a hollow threat. So immediately I said, yeah, that's a good idea. And I did. And I rang up and said, I'll debate you. I don't care. And the woman on the phone said, oh, hang on, I'll go and get him. And they put a song on, and she's handed him the phone. And then him and I have started where he's now carrying on about we didn't evolve from monkeys, and I'm saying, and
he is correct there. We didn't.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, he's saying, how can you say we evolved from monkeys? And Charles Darwin said that, and I said we didn't evolve from monkeys. I said you're putting words in. We didn't evolve from monkeys. We have a common ancestor, but that's not how evolution works. And the fact that you're on air saying that proves that you don't know what you're talking about. And so he's getting more heated at me, and I'm getting more heated at him. And then the song ran out, and he must have switched the mic back on. And so on the air, you can hear him screaming at me, and you can't hear me. And he's, I'm not frightened. I'll have you in here any time. And I said, good, let's do it. But by the end of the show, he started to wuss out by saying, I don't think I should use the station as a platform for...
And yet...
controversy.
Yeah, sure. And yet he already was.
Yeah, and meanwhile, he's been telling people you come back to life from the dead. And I said, oh, well, that's not controversial, right?
Yes.
And I managed to track him down at his church, and I rang him. And, of course, then he started, well, I better check with the station manager. I'm going, but it's a community FM station.
Mm.
It's supposed to be of and for the people. And that's when I realised this bugger is going to wriggle off the hook.
Yeah.
And... here you are with your studio that's in absolute disrepair. You're always carrying on you're going to do a podcast. Well, guess what? Get off your ass and go and clean your studio out and get it happening. And that's what happened. And I still haven't let him off the hook because I'm thinking later on today I'm going to ring him and say, remember me?
Mm.
Now you need to come to me. Or I need to bring some portable recording equipment to you.
Yeah,
And
go and speak to his church.
Yeah.
Say, look, I've done that before. You just walk up there and say, look, I want to set a date where I can be the sermon for the day, just for the day. You know, you get to speak to your parishioners every week.
Yeah.
Let me do it once, just once, half an hour, 20 minutes, whatever. I'll prepare something. It'll be awesome. They'll love it.
Well,
I won't be too controversial, and I promise not to swear.
I don't think he'll go as far as that, but I'd like to. I'd like to corner him because during our diatribe on the phone, I said to him, "Well, you need to stop getting all your scientific information out of a book that was written in the Bronze Age." He counted.
I don't think he's getting it from there. I dare say he's getting it from the Creation Ministries magazine. If he's spouting that atheists believe that that the humans evolved from monkeys and that's what Charles Darwin said, then he's not getting his information, his scientific information from there. He's getting it from Creation Ministries International.
Well, his answer was there was no Bronze Age, and that's when I figured, boy, you really are getting it from that, and you don't even believe that the Bronze Age existed. So, quite frankly,
well, teach the controversy, right?
And that's pretty amazing to go to that point. And then he ended up by saying to the show that he believes everything from Genesis 1 right through to Revelations 22.
Sure.
So we have an absolute young Earth creationist, and there are a brand of church which is very fundo, and they call themselves like the Welsh Presbyterians.
Oh, yeah, nice.
I found him on Facebook, and someone had actually done a write-up of one of his sermons. This guy goes around doing write-ups for churches on Facebook, and had said that, you know, he got up during the service and did the whole thing about people evolved from monkeys and all this sort of stuff, and the temperance against alcohol. But that may have something to do with the fact that his father was run down by a drunk driver when his father was younger, when he was riding a bicycle.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. Ken Ham does, you know of Ken Ham?
I do know of him, yes.
Yeah, so Ken Ham, I think he's Creation Ministries International. He's the guy that built the Creationism Museum in the US, I think in Ohio. He did a really enjoyable sermon, you know, from my perspective anyway. It certainly put a lot into perspective, I should say. You know, from the creationism point of view. Effectively, he was saying that for Christians, or, you know, for anybody of the book, or, you know, as Muhammad called them, people of the book, for any people of the book who discount any one book of the Bible, whether it be Genesis or Exodus or Deuteronomy or Leviticus or, you know, Malachi, or, you know, whichever book you choose to discount, you know, either because it's clearly scientifically incorrect and full of holes, or whatever else. For whatever reason you reject whichever book of the Bible, if you reject that one, then by extension you have to question the rest of the Bible.
Yes, that's right.
So by accepting every book of the Bible as revelation, as completely true, you know, as completely unquestionably true, then you never have to think about it. It's there. It's totally fine. You never have to question anything if you accept everything.
Yeah, you just accept the fact God's magical, and therefore anything that might contradict itself is there for a reason that you don't understand.
Exactly. Hooray for magical sky pixies.
That's right. And years ago, way before this, and I was a much more moderate person then, we were probably talking about 8 or 9 years ago, I got a call. I used to be involved in public TV in South Australia, and I got a call from the station's president who said, "Oh, I've got John McKay coming into town." Now, the president of the actual station was a very churchy guy, but he was actually quite forward-thinking, because in order to keep the licence, he understood that you needed programs of diversity.
Sure, balance.
And, yeah, even in some... And I'd worked in the public FM station there, which was, like, full of rednecks, and in comparison, he was like a liberal. So it surprised me later when I found out he was young Earth creationist and all this stuff, because I used to think your persona doesn't really match that. Like, you're so open to people, and yet you've homeschooled all your kids, and they're all at home watching. Who's the one who went to jail? Kent Hovind.
Yeah.
They used to put Kent Hovind's programs on the channel, and the guy's son used to sit there sort of editing them ready to put to air. And I remember watching one of them and just... it was like my head sunk in, basically. But
But I mean, that's genius stuff. Look,
Oh, yeah.
and I'm not. I'm speaking from a different perspective, I suppose. You know, if you show the most ridiculously right-wing or ridiculously creationist or ridiculously fundamentalist side, and then also show the other side, then you can show the ridiculous programs.
Yeah.
And you know, without really being questioned at all, because you are also showing the other side.
Yeah, look,
And certainly
you're
there's
right.
a lot of people that don't understand the science who
Yes.
will no doubt find the creationism side incredibly easy to understand.
Yeah.
And that's by no mistake at all. You know, a lot of them are really great at marketing.
Yeah, well, I suppose on the atheist side, we kind of do that too, in the fact that we encourage everyone to read the Bible.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yes, no, listen, don't slag it off without reading it, because if you read it, then you really will know. So it is kind of the same thing. By opening it up, you hope that more people will look at it and go, this is a pile of garbage.
Yes.
But yeah, so I got a call at like 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, he's coming and he's going to give a talk at the church, at the Happy Clappy Church. But he's going to drop by the studio for an hour or two, and he'd really like to see if he could find someone to debate. And I kind of hadn't even heard of him. And as I said, I was a lot softer in those days, and I still have it. And I look back on it and I think, oh my God, I was way too easy on him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but that was the same sort of thing where I did put it to him at one point. I said, see, the thing is, you're off, you know, with your so-called pseudo-geology and stuff, but basically you've already got the answer. Now you need to make the evidence try and fit it. And so you are working on that theory that if you discount one word of the Bible, you've got to discount it all. And I'm explaining to him that, of course, science doesn't work like that. Science is happy to criticise itself because it's a sort of a self-correcting. Yeah.
If it doesn't criticise itself, then it never learns, it never grows.
Yeah, that's right. And so he was up there saying, well, of course, then science is your God and all this sort of stuff. And I was like, no,
That's awesome.
But back in those days, I was sort of sitting on the fence. And I suppose in a way I still sort of am, because I said in the first podcast, look, if anybody out there thinks they can convince me and they can back it up with something, I'll be the first one on my knees praying.
Yep.
It's just the problem is that as the years go past and I get longer and longer in the tooth, I just find I've just heard it all before.
Yeah, and you have.
And no one ever comes to, oh, someone's knocking at the door, hang on. I'm just doing an interview with someone. That's my son there. So, you know, so far there's been nothing that's really changed all that. And I suspect there probably won't be.
Yeah, I know. I mean, and you can't help but get a little bit cynical about it. I go out as regularly as I can to the city here in Brisbane along the Queen Street Mall, where on a Friday and Saturday evening a group of young Earth creationists called Operation 513 go and preach. They street preach. And we have a group of atheists known as the Brisbane Atheists, quite aptly, I think. Because of course we are atheists and we live in Brisbane,
well, there you go.
and we just actively stand there and combat pretty much everything that they say. You know, we ask them questions, we engage in conversation, and despite the fact that the rhetoric is it's always pretty congenial, but despite the fact that the rhetoric is always, sort of off the cuff and fairly loud, they are pretty good, and so are we. But I have yet to hear an argument that has, at all made me think that that their position is correct.
Yeah, because it's
even slightly.
Because in the end, the nub of it is it's just based on faith.
Yeah.
And
well,
then,
ultimately, I'm as open as anybody else, on the face of the earth. I really enjoy the pursuit of knowledge. It's one of my favourite things. It's why I do what I do. I absolutely love to learn. And the idea behind that is that we have this opportunity to live basically once for a certain, a limited time. So to be able to accumulate as much knowledge as possible and learn as much as available, is a really noble cause, I think, anyway. But in saying that, when we have the opportunity to go and learn from others with other points of view, such as these creationists, they just don't seem to grasp that they're in what seems, to be, almost a prison. They seem completely unable to look outside of their faith-based cage, and it's quite disheartening.
Well, it is, because
they have the same access to the same information, yet they refuse to look outside of it. It's really disheartening.
Yeah, I on Facebook, it's on my Facebook page somewhere. My wife got sent this thing from someone who was quite churchy, and it showed a video of a little girl supposedly talking to her atheist dad about why he should go to church. And it's on one of those sites. I can't remember it offhand, but he's filming her, and she's saying, "Well, you don't believe in God, Daddy?" And he says no, and she goes, "Oh, well, you should, because that's where God is," and all this sort of nonsense. And it was the biggest piece of child exploitation I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And I went on, and it said post a comment, and there were all these empty-headed comments from people, and I just couldn't help it. I just went down the page, just counteracting stuff left, right, and centre, and then promptly forgot about it, And then a few days later, on my messages other in Facebook, I had some really angry fundos wanting to take arms with me and give me the stick that I deserved. And I got all sorts of personal abuse. "Oh, no wonder you've only got 40 friends on Facebook. I'm not surprised if this is, how could you, blah, 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 blah." So with each and every one of them, no matter what message they sent, I sent a message back. Yes, I did have a right to post there because it said leave a reply. Just because it's not the sort of reply you guys wanted is irregardless. I do have a right to leave a reply because it said leave your comment. So I did. And it just went on and on and on. And as each of them got a message back and to and froed, when eventually they'd run out of arguments, they'd all do the same thing. "I don't want to talk to you anymore. Just know that I'll be praying for you."
Yes, this argument is over.
This argument is, yes. And this one woman kept on and on and on saying, "Just drop it, leave it alone." And I said, "Well, the thing is, you messaged me, I didn't message you.
You engaged me, I just sat back."
That's right. And so this will stop when you stop messaging me, because I promise you I will always have the last word. So
it's very altruistic of you.
Yeah, so she went through and told me her proof to believe in God, because her 7-year-old son had been diagnosed with something horrible.
Yep.
And God had taken him off to heaven, and this, that, and
so
the
you're
other.
a Christian now? Is that what you're saying? Is that the purpose of this?
well, as I'd said, that's one way of looking at it. But look at it from the other perspective. He was 7 years, or whatever he was, and yet you have this belief in this almighty being who actually then ruthlessly took your child away from you.
Yeah.
And yet you still... And then she had a sign because at the kids' school some little girl had drawn a picture or something and had said, "That's your boy in heaven," or something like this. So she sort of said, well, that was an inspiration from God. That was a message from God. And I just went...
Yeah, I mean, it's a confirmation bias, but...
Yeah.
You can understand that. I mean, I can understand that. I think the adult in us can understand why people retreat inside themselves or into, ideological philosophies where they just don't have to think about certain things because they're too terrifying to think about. I mean, I can understand the parent wanting to think that their child is in a better place. I totally understand that.
Yeah, I can understand it, but the problem is that...
It doesn't make it right.
No, and unfortunately it
doesn't make it true.
It doesn't make it true. And so, I said to my auntie's partner at one point, I said, in a way, don't lose your faith. The thing I've noticed about people of faith is they always seem so very happy. Many of them do, and you kind of almost envy the happiness, because...
Of course. As they say, though, ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, because if there's anything you can't answer, it's just God of the gaps, and you just go, "Oh, well, God did that." And so anything you can't answer, well, God did it, so that's fine.
Yeah.
And so, some of them do have this this wonderful air about them until, of course, you challenge them. I was going to say, I liked your interview you did with the bigot from God Hates Fags.
Yes.
And I was having a good listen to that when you did it all that time ago. And I thought you pushed him about as far as he was going to go, especially at one point you were almost coming onto him with the homosexual sort of thing.
Well, I was trying to get him to understand that sexuality is relative, you know. But he didn't particularly understand it. You know, but in saying that, he was one of my favourite the favourite people that I've ever spoken to on the subject of religion. You know, as deeply entrenched as he is, it's quite easy to lose sight from where we are as atheists, as activists in this community who do what we do out of some sort of altruistic need or altruistic obligation. It's easy for us to look at them and see what they're doing as objectively horrible and abhorrent. But when you really speak to somebody, when you spend a bit of time with them, even though it's over Skype and you're not in the same room, I really found myself gaining quite a bit of empathy towards the guy. And, it almost repulsed me, to be perfectly honest. But in saying that, he was just such a normal freaking guy. You know, he was a really well-educated guy, almost a lawyer, and in law, the whole idea is you put up arguments and you test them. You know, you use logic and you use evidence to test these arguments that you make. And yet I could see that while he was using these arguments and while he was using empiricism and logic to challenge the arguments in his workplace and in his study, in his field of study, he had clearly decided not to use those same quite clearly honed excellent skills in his faith. And I found that just fascinating. Yeah, absolutely fascinating.
Well, that's the cognitive dissonance thing, isn't it?
It is, of course.
That's it. You apply logic. And I said that to that preacher on the phone. I said, you use your logical mind every day. You just switch it off when it comes to your faith.
Yeah.
And, of course, he said, no, I put scientific knowledge towards all my miracles that I've had. But out of all the interviews I've heard with the Westboro Baptists, and I'm also assuming he was the guy, too, that you spoke to who actually wasn't... He married into the family.
No.
He was one of the brothers, because the most vehement one is almost that guy who's attached himself to them. He's the
pseudo head. So the head, of course, is Fred Phelps.
Yep.
His daughter Shirley Phelps is the actual head. The pseudo head is her partner, her husband. Who would be the one that takes it on. But because this, because all of the Abrahamic faiths require a large amount of, they're all they all come from patriarchal systems, and they almost abhor the matriarchal systems. So they will always take on the man as the head of their religion. So he is going to be the new head. I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I know the one though, and he's the one who puts together most of their videos and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's downright scary. Although when it comes to Shirley, I'd almost like her to chase me around and call me names. There's something about that. There's something going on there.
Yeah, I think you'll find that just like the rest of the ladies there, they use their feminist, not their feminist,
their feminine,
not their femin. There we go, their femininity.
Yeah.
To disarm you a little bit.
Yeah, well, I saw the three of them the other night. I was looking at YouTube, and they were on with what's her name? The names escape me for the moment. She's the Afro-American girl, not Oprah.
Right.
She's hot too, actually.
Tara, what's her name?
Yeah, Tyra Banks. Tyra Banks. And I've never had that much respect for Tyra Banks. I've always found her to be kind of a bit...
regardless of what you say, I still will not have any respect for her.
Well, if you see the interview, it is on YouTube, and you've got Shirley Phelps and the two daughters. And I've got to tell you, Tyra does not let them walk all over her. Yeah. You compare her to the guy from Panorama who ended up shouting and yelling at the one from Scientology who really lost it.
Yeah.
Tyra really actually keeps a lid on it, and that's not that easy to do with those girls.
No.
But the two daughters, I got to say, are pretty hot. I mean, label me a sexist old pig if you want, because I am nearly 50.
Later on the misogyny cast.
That's right, and I did watch Benny Hill as a child. Come on, I have to admit it. But they were pretty hot, and but I give Tyra credit because in the end she really shut Shirley down, and that's not that easy to do. In the end, she said, "I wasn't asking you, Shirley. I want to talk to your daughters. Stop butting in."
Yeah.
Which was really good, and then she led them down a path, and you could see Shirley was kind of like, I don't like where this is going. So, as I said, I never thought Tyra Banks would jump up there in my imagination, but I was blown away by how well she controlled them.
Yeah,
and
she has, she's an intelligent lady. I certainly wasn't trying to take anything away from her, but I dare say that their producer had a good word with Tyra beforehand and said, "Look, this is a great opportunity to get some ratings here. If you do well here and you get these people to say a lot of stupid stuff and make them look ridiculous, then I guarantee you that this show will be, it'll have a greater viewing in the future."
Yep.
And true to form, when I had the Westboro Baptist Church people on, it's probably at the very least my second most downloaded show, and I did it like a year ago.
Yep.
And since then we've gotten thousands upon thousands of listeners, and it still remains my second most downloaded show.
Right.
Because it's one of those things where I got to create some controversy. I got to make somebody who is controversial, contradict themselves many times.
Yeah. So I've seen a lot of interviews with them. I've seen Louis Theroux's done a couple.
He's the best. In my opinion, I just love that dude.
Yeah, he is good. I must admit, I could talk forever about him. But I've seen him interview them. I've seen a lot of people interview them. I've heard you interview them. It's got to the point where I'd like to interview them, but I only have one question left because everyone's asked them everything else. And I only have one question. I almost dare not say it because someone will pinch it. But what the hell, someone's got to ask them. I've never heard anyone ask them this question, and they probably dodge it. But when I see Shirley and all these people, and they're talking about how much they love God, and everyone else is going to hell, and the one question I would like to ask them is, let's assume you die and you've lived this life, and for some reason, when you get to the gates or wherever, God says, "Look, thanks for all your hard work. You actually were quite a stunning ambassador for me. But there is one issue at some point in your life I wasn't happy with. So I am actually going to damn you to hell for that." I wonder if you were in hell, would you still love God? Like, in other words, would you feel somewhat disappointed if after all this stuff you've done, flying all over the country, picketing, living his word, doing everything, but that one little thing you forgot about, he's decided to send you to hell? How do you feel about him?
Yeah. Yeah, they're not so great with metaphorical situations, I found.
Yeah.
But that is a really good question.
Yeah.
And the last thing that I want to do is be an apologist for them. But I almost know what they would say.
Yeah.
They consider themselves members of the elect, which is a phrase mentioned in several different ways throughout the New and indeed Old Testament. And the elect were effectively, God's chosen people who will eventually go to heaven. And they will be. This is coming straight from sort of Fred Phelps's mouth. As they will be hated for what they say and what they do, but they must continue nonetheless
and receive their celestial reward.
Exactly.
However, they still could be judged because they can't. You can't fully understand the mind of God, and for some reason, He might let the rest of you through, but there might be one of you.
Yes.
That He might say, "Sorry, you can't come through because of whatever."
Yes.
Now, how do you feel about that?
Yes.
Will you happily go and burn in hell, knowing that you still did a good job anyway? You know, and I'd love to see them dodge it. I'm sure they would dodge it, as most people do, because.
Well, I know what you mean. I think personally, I'd prefer to be in hell than in, with all the cool people that have been condemned to hell by people living, rather than live up in heaven with the vast majority of the God Hates Fags Church.
Yeah, well, I'm sure there's only 144,000 of us going, and I don't lump myself in there either. But Now,
Actually, 144,000 are the ones who live on Earth.
Okay.
Everybody else has been raptured, so they're the ones that get to rule over the rest of humanity for the next, whatever it was, 1,200 years. Sorry, 1,000 or 2,000 years, something like that.
Well, my Jehovah's Witness friend, who I'd love to get into this room, but I'm sure he won't, gave me a different spin on that because I said to him the 144,000 that were going to heaven, and he said, yeah, they go to heaven, but it's the ones who get left on Earth. There's room for more. So he actually explained that in the opposite way round.
Yeah, no, I dare say that the upper echelons of Jehovah's Witness-ism would have to do something like that, or have to, explain away things like that, because there are a hell of a lot of Jehovah's Witnesses now, certainly more than 144,000. But if you read Revelations in the context of I think it was the final Jewish revolt, you can actually see that the communication that's been given is cryptic communication, trying to tell one side of the Jewish revolt, basically the makeup of the army of Nero. And it's quite a fascinating thing. There are a few books on it, one by Richard Carrier. I can't remember the others, but certainly if you Google Revelations explained, I'm pretty sure you can get some. You'll be able to find some pretty good explanations, which are far more plausible than, what is it, the two-headed dragon with human breasts and who suckles somebody at her teat and then vomits herself up. Revelations is an acid trip gone wrong.
Well, they had a lot of mushrooms in those days.
Exactly. Well, where did hashish come from?
Yeah. Well, that's right.
It's just over the border.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So certainly, there's far better explanations for Revelations.
Did you take part in the live Godless Biz?
Which one was that?
That's their first one, which today is Sunday, so I don't know when this will be out, but I didn't get to hear it because I was running around. Godless Biz did the live thing on blog radio, blog talk.
Oh, that was today, was it?
Yeah, that was today, and I'd wondered if you'd taken part in it.
But... he asked me earlier on in the year, and I said yes, but I didn't follow up on it.
I see.
Rats.
Well, look,
I totally forgot about it. Thanks very much. You should have called me yesterday.
Well, I was going to call you. Yeah, look, yesterday I saw your face on the thing, but you were sort of listed as being off, and then I've had this computer that I've been rebraining over and over and over and smashing my head against the desk because for some strange reason I really want to reinstall an old copy of Windows 98 to run a particular piece of software, which this goes on forever. So I didn't.
Civilizations.
Yeah, I didn't want to. I sort of saw you there, and I thought, I think he said he was busy Saturday because I thought you would be doing imaginary
friends
with.
No, we recorded on Friday night. I was certainly mixing.
Okay.
But no, it doesn't matter. I mean, geez, last year I actually took Andrew's spot. He asked me if I wanted to do it with him, and I said, hell yeah, except I'll be in Melbourne at the Think Inc. conference.
Yep.
So I'll get a room and we'll organise that, no worries. But then it just so happened that I'd gotten so friendly with the organisers of the conference, because we actually ended up striking a bit of a partnership between our show and the conference, that they were able to organise for Christina Rad, Michael Shermer, and Neil deGrasse Tyson, my mother-flipping hero, to sit in on the conference. So basically Andrew said, well, I think I'll just let you guys do it.
Right, okay.
So I stole his spot from last year.
Right.
So I'm not surprised that he didn't have me on this year.
Okay, so how many podcasts are you up to now?
108 was yesterday's.
108, yeah. So this is number 5 for me.
Yeah.
What's the best way to kind of get in there and sort of push it along?
Well, there are a couple of ways that, honestly, you have to get people to put feedback on iTunes.
Yeah, I got 1 5-star rating from someone I don't know.
Oh, well, there you go. So you're reaching out. You're properly reaching out. Now all you need him to do is speak to 5 other people and get them to review it.
Right.
And then they need to speak to another 5 people each to get them to review it. See, the more that you're reviewed and the more that people subscribe to you, the more that iTunes will feature you on that new and noteworthy section in there. And then secondary to that, there's a great app called Stitcher.
Oh, Stitcher, yeah.
Radio.
Yep.
Or rather, it's Stitcher.com, and the app is called Stitcher Radio.
Yeah.
It's one of the best, I think. Basically, it allows you to stream podcasts directly to your iDevice or your Android device. And if you ask them nicely and you beg and plead, because they'll assign you an individual to manage your podcast. But if you beg and plead them for enough time, they'll promote you in the sections that you relate to.
Okay.
So, for example, Imaginary Friends Show is promoted under natural sciences and comedy and skepticism. So in those sections, I think, are like fourth or fifth along.
Right.
So that's pretty much the way you do it. And then you just post it, like you said earlier. You just post on Facebook, you post on Twitter, you go on other people's podcasts.
Yes.
Having guests on, all of that sort of stuff gets your listeners.
Yes, I was going to get around to asking you that. Any chance of sticking my head in on yours at some point?
Yeah, of course. Of course, I'm always totally open. My only limitation is the amount of time that I have, because I work full time. I have 2 children. I study part-time at university. I sit on 2 podcasts, and I'm as active as I possibly can be in the skepticism, atheism scene. So the spare time factor can be a little bit limiting. So when we make a podcast, generally the email goes out to interested parties on a Thursday afternoon, and then the news goes out on Friday. To them, and then we record either on a Friday night or a Saturday. So it's generally we're not flexible.
Right. Well, I'm generally around then, so that's not.
I'd love to have you
on. Which is good. Yeah, I've started posting the show on Spreaker because for some reason David Smalley with their podcast said they were following me, and I got this recommendation to go do it with Spreaker Web Radio, and I've had now almost as many streams and downloads there as I have had in iTunes.
Oh, cool.
Which is interesting, but that doesn't really help your iTunes rating as much.
Oh, no, but it doesn't. It's all relative. It doesn't matter where people find you.
As long as they find you.
As long as they find you. Exactly. Because, they'll continue listening to that, and then you talk about the things that or the ways that people can access you on your podcast. So you say, you can access us on iTunes, or you can access us on Stitcher, or on Spreaker, or various other means. So the more that you talk about those various other means, the more that they're likely to suggest that to their friends.
Yeah, it's excellent. Well, listen, you promised me 5 minutes, and I've managed to stretch you out to 50 minutes, which is good.
I've got to get back. I'm doing a really interesting essay on I'm doing a critical analysis. I think probably anybody who's done philosophy would have done this, but I'm doing a really interesting critical analysis on the theological implications of the illuminated one, the one who rises from the cave in Plato's, or Plato's allegory of the cave. So you've stolen me away.
Okay, yeah. Well, just remember, I am the dumbed-down atheist, as we've said.
I could never forget.
As we've said in our actually, I have a 30-second little commercial there in my iTunes thing. Should you want to sort of download it, you could stick it in your show. Whereas I did say we take scientific, atheistic, and intelligent thought and reduce it to the lowest common denominator. So, as I said, we are the podcast for everyone else who didn't finish year 10 or something like that. But it's been very good talking to you. You've now pushed my podcast to 1 hour and 58, and I really hate editing, so it could be a long one.
Oh, crikey. We'll put me at the front then.
I can do that. Yeah, I could do that.
I'm just being horrible. I'm just kidding.
No, you might do, because I felt I was a little lackluster leading up to that. So, look, thanks very much.
It's my pleasure.
Please keep in touch with me, and I'll keep annoying you on Facebook. Don't worry, because that's the kind of guy I am.
Awesome.
And we'll do it. And if your people talk to my people, I'm sure we'll have people.
Well, my people... Yeah, well, that's right. My people is me.
Yeah,
basically.
me too.
But no worries. Hey, what's the website for Spreaker that you've intrigued me?
It's just called Spreaker. If you just go to Google, Spreaker Web Radio.
Spreaker.
Yes, Spreaker Web Radio. Okay. As I say, quite big with the dogma debate. They use Spreaker, and so do a few others. They will tag your uploads in terms of when people download it or listen to it. Before your show starts, you'll hear Spreaker Web Radio, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But the good thing about them was they give you a free account initially, which will allow you to either broadcast or upload 20 hours of material.
Oh, cool.
Before you decide whether you'll cough up bucks.
Yeah.
So at the moment, I'm only up to 4 hours, so I figured I'm going to let it run to the 20 and see. But without giving away all my details, I'm just over 300 either listens or downloads with all platforms.
Nice.
And they jumped, it's jumped with them to something like 112 in less than a week.
Yeah.
So for some reason, I think either they're fudging the figures or people who don't do the whole iTunes iPod experience tend to go there.
There are a few of them out there.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm thinking, because some people, when I tell them about the podcast, a lot of people, I don't do the iTunes thing.
Yeah.
So Spreaker's good in the fact that you can download as an MP3, or you can just click the play button and it'll just play it to you.
Nice.
So at first I thought, well, what the hell, and stuck them in there. Now I'm kind of glad I did.
Yeah.
And as far as I know, they can also take over your RSS feeds for you as well, at less than what I'm paying from Libsyn, mind you.
Yes, well, they are quite expensive, aren't they?
Yeah, well, see, I didn't know any different because I only knew one other person. I said, what do you use? And they go, I use Libsyn. And I went, oh, well, I'll use Libsyn too then. So, but I'm then worried I'll lose my RSS feed and have to go back to the start with my stats.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, oh, well, that's life.
Yeah, that's right.
You just smash it. Just smash it out.
Yeah, okay then.
Do the best you can.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
No worries. See you, Robert.
I already feel like we're best buddies now.
Well, we are, clearly. We were before we started recording.
That's right, maybe in some sort of cosmic way, okay?
Indeed.
Okay, I'll talk to you soon.
See you, Rob.
Bye, Jake.
Bye.
And there he was, the real Jake Farr-Wharton. I said I'd talk to him at some point, didn't I? I didn't think it would just before we were wrapping up the show. I'm not sure if Nev's awake over there. I'll turn his mic back up. Just hang on a second.
You metaphysical.
Oh, dear. You've missed the hop.
Go to Mrs. Hesketson.
I should draw a little moustache under his nose. Hang on, I'll get a little texture. He'll hate that. Oh, come on. Wake up, you silly old bugger. Wake up. You're dreaming, Nev. What were you dreaming about?
Oh, I dreamt. Oh, you wouldn't believe it, actually. I dreamt Nora was home and I was the richest man in Nangwarry.
Say goodnight to the folks, Nev.
Yeah, bye, folks. Now, old friends, they don't call around like they used to anymore. And now when I hear that older knocking, it's usually bloody bad news at the door. Oh, but if she'd come home to me, that dear girl I once did marry, then I, my friend, would be the richest man in Nangwarry. It's sung for every boy, every girl. There's just one love in this whole world. The trouble is, my one's gone away. Oh, but all the things she means to me. If only she'd come home to me, then I, my friend, would be the richest man in Nangwarry. You know, I never bloomin' felt so close to her, even though she's gone away. And It seems it's only dark clouds that cover up an otherwise beautiful sunny day. Oh, but you know, before I reach for another beer, I can feel her gaze. It's still quite austere. Oh, yes. But if she'd come home to me, that girl I did once marry, then my friend, I'd be the richest man in Nangwarry.
Oh, for sure. Dream on, Nangus. I am the richest man in Nangwarry.